Dear friends, in just a few days from now, we will be Zochei Me'eretz Hashem to begin the Yom Tov of Rosh Hashana. And Rosh Hashana is not an island unto itself. Rosh Hashana is not an entity unto itself. Rosh Hashana is a gateway. It's an opening into Aseret Simei Tshuva, into 10 days in which we have the opportunity to do tshuva, to repent, to reflect, to introspect, to think about what did and didn't happen over the past year, but just as important, to contemplate what we want out of the year ahead. And I think when we come to Rosh Hashana, we come to Aseret Simei Tshuva, we often find ourselves fundamentally overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. For many of us, the notion of tshuva, for many of us, the notion of just giving an accounting of last year, how did I spend my time, what did I do, what didn't I do, is overwhelming. The notion of tshuva, some of us apologizing, is an incredibly difficult thing. And that's to someone who's right in front of me. That's for a wrong that I know for sure I committed. Apologizing to the Melech Malchei HaMelachim, apologizing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and really trying to sort things out often feels incredibly overwhelming. Which is why so often in life, whether we recognize it or not, we kind of check out of Yamim Noraim. In other words, when I say check out, I'm not sleeping in, I'm going to go to shul, I'm going to go through the behaviors, I'm going to do exactly what it is that I have to do. But there's a piece of me that keeps the profundity of the experience a little bit at bay because I'm overwhelmed. And the truth is, rightfully so. The process of tshuva is overwhelming. And Rosh Hashana isn't even about tshuva, right? Rosh Hashana is ultimately, again, about accepting the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as my will, making the will of God, the Ratzon Hashem, my will. That's what it means to be mamlech. That's what it means to anoint HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a king. And there's no tshuva really inherently involved in that. That's why, again, there's no slichas on Rosh Hashana. There's no Hashamnu Bagadnu, right? Even Avinu Malkeinu, we only make one reference to Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha, sin. Otherwise, Rosh Hashana is not really about sin, but even Rosh Hashana itself, it's so overwhelming. Yamim Noraim itself, so where do I begin? What do I do? What should I work on? There are so many things I have to stop doing, so many things I have to start doing, and when I just kind of sit down to think about all of it, it's overwhelming. And most of us, when we get overwhelmed, generally tend to shut down and do nothing. That's why, dear friends, I think for many of us, Rosh Hashanah comes, Rosh Hashanah goes, Aseret Simei Tshuva comes and goes. And although we daven with sincerity and we have the purest of intentions, we don't really get movement. We don't really get any traction. And it's not because we don't care. It's often because we're overwhelmed. So allow me a few minutes to address this dynamic of being overwhelmed with Yamim Noraim. There is a beautiful medrash in Tana de Be'elio. The medrash recalls a story of Eliyahu Hanavi, writes as follows. He says, Pamachas, Eliyahu Hanavi tells a story. Hayisi over mi makom l'makom. One time I was traveling from one place to another, and I found a guy. I ran into a guy. This guy was the ignorant shebe ignorant. Lo hayaba lo mikra lo mishnah. He didn't know anything. He didn't know chumash. He didn't know mishnayos. He knew nothing. He was totally ignorant of Yiddishkeit. V'amarti lo. So Eliyahu Hanavi says, I said to this ignorant guy, B'ni, Ma'ata mashiv la'avicha sheba shrein liyom adin. Eliyahu Hanavi says to the guy, my son, what are you going to say to God on the Day of Judgment? Now, B'pashtos, the Day of Judgment which Eliyahu Hanavi refers to over here is death. Is death, when you leave this world. But the truth is, for our purposes, we could apply this just to Rosh Hashanah. So Eliyahu Hanavi says to the ignorant fisherman, ignorant guy, we'll get to the fisherman in just a moment, ignorant guy, what are you going to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you have to give judgment for your life? You didn't learn. You didn't engage in any dynamic spiritual activity. What are you going to say? To which the guy says to Eliyahu Hanavi, says, Amar lo, Rebbe, yesh li dvarim shani mashiva. Listen to this. So the guy says to Eliyahu Hanavi, Rebbe, don't worry about me. I got it all figured out. I have my whole excuse. I know exactly what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bina v'deya lo nasli min Hashem she'akra v'eshna. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, don't blame me. You didn't give me intellect. You didn't give me intellect. You didn't give me the ability to learn Chumash. You didn't give me the ability to learn Mishnah. You didn't give me intellect. So if you didn't give me intellect, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? And the guy's all proud of himself, right? He's telling him, no, what are you going to say before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Rosh Hashana? What are you going to say before HaKadosh Baruch Hu after 120? The guy says, don't sweat it. I got it covered out. I got it covered. And I got it covered. I'm going to tell him, you didn't give me knowledge. You didn't give me wisdom. So Eliyahu says, B'ni, Bini ma malachtecha. So the Navi says to the guy, tell me, what do you do for a living? Amrali tzayid ani. He says, I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter and a fisherman. So the Navi proceeds to tell the guy, tell me, who taught you how to make traps? Right? Who taught you how to trap animals on land? Who taught you how to create fishing nets? Who taught you all of this stuff to be able to be an effective hunter, an effective fisherman? So the man responds, Rebbe, bazeh nasnu li bina badas min hashamayim. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me knowledge for. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me knowledge for. To make nets, to make traps, that I know how to do. To which Eliyahu Navi says, Umalahavi pishna la'ari mitzudos. The same, if you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you knowledge to make nets and to make traps, to throw them into the sea, to figure out where to place them, Uledivrei Torah shekasuv ba, ki karov elecha hadavar mi'od befichol bevavcha la'asoso, lo nasnu lecha bina v'adeh min hashamayim. So Navi says, do you tell me, do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gave you knowledge for nets, who gave you knowledge for traps, didn't give you knowledge for Torah? Didn't give you the ability to comprehend Torah? Didn't give you the ability to go ahead and do tshuva? Navi says, if you know how to make nets and traps, then at the end of the day, you know how to learn. You know how to engage in dynamic spiritual activity. You know how to do tshuva. The story ends. Miyad hayamerim kolo ba'ubochad umisanach. The man started crying. The confident fisherman, the confident hunter had all figured out, started crying. Why? Because he realized that Eliyahu Navi was right. That the truth is, if you know how to make nets, and you know how to make traps, and you know how to go to work, and you know how to do your job, and you know how to throw a baseball, and you know how to go ahead and pursue whatever other activities you go ahead and you do in life, if you know how to do those things, then you know how to do tshuva. Then you know how to engage in dynamic spiritual activity. And dear friends, the profundity of this Mishnah is what Eliyahu Navi was teaching this man. You see, this man, this simple Jew, he just thought spirituality, Torah, tshuva, that's an acquired skill set. I don't have that skill set, and therefore I cannot perform those tasks. To which HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to the man, you're wrong. Becoming a hunter is an acquired skill set. Making nets, making traps, those are acquired skill sets. Learning how to do tshuva, you don't have to learn it. Learning Torah, you don't have to learn it. That skill set is innate. You see, we often forget that everything we need in order to be spiritually successful is contained within. I was created with it. I have the tools to explore Torah. Again, we all have different levels of intellectual capacity, but we are born in with the innate ability to connect to Torah in some way. I am born with the innate ability to forge a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I came from Shamayim. My neshama was carved out, was chiseled out from the Kis Yakar, from the throne of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have an innate ability to forge a relationship with Hashem. And I have the innate ability to do tshuva. The tools are there. Dear friends, everything else in life, every other skill set, to learn to ride a bike, you have to learn to ride a bike. You're not born with that innate skill set. You have to develop that skill set. To go ahead and do your profession, whatever you are, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a chef, whatever you might be, you have to learn those skill sets. But when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to Torah, relationship with Torah, our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the ability to do tshuva, you do not have to acquire anything. Because anything and everything you need to be successful in all those spiritual endeavors already resides within you. We get so overwhelmed by Yamim Noraim because we're trying to figure out, what do I need? What do I need? What do I have to learn in order to do tshuva? What do I have to do in order to reforge a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Meanwhile, you know what the secret of Yamim Noraim is? The secret of Yamim Noraim is don't do anything. The first step in Yamim Noraim is open your heart, is look inside of yourself, is open the machzor and just lose yourself in the words. Just lose yourself in tefillah. On Shabbos night, when we say Baruch Hu Es Hashem HaMavorach, the Chazan will usher in two Kedushas. The Kedusha of Shabbos, the Kedusha of Yom Tov, and not just any Yom Tov. The Yom Tov of Rosh Hashana. In that moment, all you need to do is just silence everything else around you. And just open your heart. Open your heart. And say, Ribono Shel Olam, I am ready to connect. Ribono Shel Olam, I am ready to reinvigorate the relationship. I've strayed. Maybe I've gone a little bit off the beaten path, or maybe really things are just off the rails totally. Okay, we'll get back on. But just know whatever you need to get your life back on the rails, whatever you need to reignite your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever you need in order to become a Baal Tshuva, it's in you. It's in you. You just have to give yourself the space to find it. You ever wonder why davening on Yamim Noram is so long? Yeah, we all wonder that. We all wonder that. Especially like during Chazar Sashatz on Musa, I feel like, oh my gosh, I would have had so much more kavanah. Had I known that it was so much shorter, I would have calculated. Do you know why it's so long? Do you know, I believe what Chazal wants you to do? Chazal wants your mind to wander. They want you to think about life. No one pays attention to every single word in Chazar Sashatz. Maybe I'm just projecting. I don't think everyone pays attention to every word in Chazar Sashatz. But that's part of the goal. The goal is just to recede into yourself, to open your heart and to look inward and to say, what tools do I have to reconnect? What tools do I have to self-inspire? What tools do I have to become a Baal Tshuva? If you want to become a fisherman, you need to learn that skill set. You want to become a hunter, you need to learn that skill set. You want to become a Baal Tshuva, you don't have to learn anything, because anything and everything you need is already inside of you. So dear friends, I wish all of us a beautiful and uplifting Yom Tov. But most importantly, a Yom Tov where we give ourselves the space to look inward. We're so often so scared to look inside ourselves because we're scared what we're going to find. This is broken and that's broken and this is in a state of disrepair and there's this out there and there's this. And yeah, there's a lot of clutter inside of myself. But when you sift through all of the clutter, you're going to find the beautiful neshama. You're going to find beautiful holiness. You're going to find this spark, a nitzutz, a chelek elokam mima'al mamish, a spark of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's inside of you, each of us, just waiting to be uncovered, just waiting to be discovered. And here's the incredible thing. If you could just find that piece of you inside of you, if you could just find the courage to connect with the tools you have inside, they'll guide you the rest of the way. See, the great secret of Yamim Noram is you actually don't have to make a whole comprehensive plan. Because if you just have the right kind of Rosh Hashana and find your inner Kedusha, find your inner tools, find your inner Baal Tshuva, find your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, those tools, those innate tools, they'll guide you the rest of the way. They're like your lantern along a dark road. They will help you find the needed destination. But you have to let them out. You have to find them, and you have to let them out. We should be Zochei Me'eretz Hashem over the Yom Tov of Rosh Hashana, to have some moments of real and beautiful and special introspection. Let's not be afraid to look inside of ourselves. Yeah, you're going to find broken stuff. You're going to find damaged stuff. But beyond all of that, I'm going to find so much beauty. When I find that beauty, that's my lantern along the dark road of life. That's my lantern of Aseret Simei Tshuva. That's the beacon I'm going to follow. It's going to teach me exactly where I need to go, what I need to do. And in the schus of finding the beautiful spiritual tools that each of us possess inside, in the schus of dusting off my neshama and allowing its light to fill my life, we, together with our families and communities, should be Zochei Me'eretz Hashem for a ksiva v'chasima tova, a year filled with mazel, with bracha, with simcha, and halavai, the best bracha of all, the bracha of Mashiach, the bracha of Geula, which we should be zochet to see actualizing here b'yameinu. Amen. Wishing everyone a good Yom Tov, a good Shabbos, and a ksiva v'chasima tova.